All right, good morning, everybody. How we doing? We got another fresh Monday morning. Make sure my sound is good. All right. Everything sounds good. We're ready to go. Let's go ahead and get right into it. All right, so for our economic outlook this Monday morning, we got pending home sales. Tomorrow we have CV consumer confidence at 10. And then Wednesday, sort of a full schedule, ADP non-farm employment change, the ISM manufacturing PMI, and crude oil inventories. Then Thursday we have initial jobless claims. Friday, non-farm payrolls, unemployment rate, and the ISM non-manufacturing PMI. So a full schedule with just regular economic things taking place. Let's go ahead and check out this power range. And for our NQ future sessions, the power range today, we got a high of 15,442 and a quarter with a low of 426. Sentiment is neutral. We got another Monday morning or another day actually, where we're just kind of hanging sideways before the bell. Up 0.09% with low volume of 46K and an ATR of 162. We are back into all-time highs. Had a very interesting day Friday thanks to Powell. And just how they use that. So we'll see how we can continue climbing. I'm not going to make any predictions, but we do have some. We can see like once we start bouncing into all-time highs, the previous trend has been we just kind of slowly chop our way higher, slowly climb higher. Then just have a little bit of retracement and all the good things. So we'll see. I'm not going to be too speculative today. Just going to see how things turn out, and of course look at it from both sides as much as I possibly can, in terms of making trading decisions. Let's see, this morning still hanging around our neutral zone. Haven't really picked the direction yet. It has a little some buying that came in trying to push us higher, sold right back off into Friday support, and then right back to those highs, and we're just bouncing around within that range that was created within the first few hours, which I'm assuming it looks like that's the Asian hours. Let's see, the Asian market hours. Yeah, so all that happened before 10 o'clock Eastern time. All right, make sure I go through all the things. Make sure I go through my checklist. Make sure I'm recording this for my backup. Good time to remind myself that the only goal is to trade the strategy to perfection. Pull the trigger. Make sure I'm looking at the bigger picture and turn off sim mode. I completely skipped the futures market pulse. Probably because there's not a whole lot to see this morning. Of course, the other index futures are going to pretty much be in line with NQ. A little bit more, but slightly more bullish with RTY. And of course, the only other index that is in all-time high range is ES. RTY and YM are still trading within their daily range. So RTY is like the only index future that is kind of, slightly on its own sheet of music. Pretty much the same thing with CL. GC also trading sideways. It has a bigger range. Just, from the visually than everything else. And a whole lot of chop with E6 with the Euro currencies. Made it up to PR plus 2. and then traded right back down to PR -3, basically range bound this morning. Also chopped around here in the European session, which is interesting. All right, this one I can close. Make sure sim is off here. All right, got about a little under 6 minutes to the bell. It's a good thing I got this checklist to remind me of everything that I was supposed to be. I would have forgotten about that. The market pulse. Trying to think how I want to. Just gonna have to do it the raw way. Get my other headphones in here so I can't really tell how that sounds. On the other end, it's loud in my ear. All right. Under 3 minutes. A little bit of bullish energy stepping in here. We're still. All right. Still seeing a little bit of, some sellers stepping in at the top of this range. Got our VPOC at 448. How far are we from a Do I need to add another balance level? Did we trade above all my balance levels? I think we did. You definitely tell I wasn't prepared for, I wasn't expecting us to. Hanging around the all-time high area like this. We are open. Oh, 55. Let's see. Some nice bullish activity here at the open. A little momentum here. I wouldn't be, what's going on, Poltro? I wouldn't be not too crazy about jumping in on a position up here, even though we do have some momentum out the gate. It's not a whole lot of participation, so there shouldn't be much in the way. It depends on how high whoever is moving this position, how high they're planning on letting their position ride. Of course, this is going to look very interesting to anyone trying to short. So I'm just going just hang out and let the trade come to me. At the same time, this bullish move could be introducing could be motivating some other traders to jump in long on a retest. Our range is not that wide. So we don't have to worry about, too much about risk this morning. This low volume and the way this price is moving, we can definitely see that we have low participation from opposing forces this morning. Of course, there's always has to be two sides of every trade. In order for price to move, you need buyers and sellers. Definitely a lot of interest long. Quicker than I, in a way that that didn't really give me a signal during my trade window. Like, just looking at this in hindsight, the only thing was to really take this break from the pre-market or the pre-open resistance. Quickly took that out and hasn't looked back yet. So eventually we will get some sort of pullback. So that's what I need in order to start looking for a real position. We are seeing price slow down a little bit. Starting to see some sellers jump in here. Those shorts that I kind of mentioned earlier that would be interested in this type of price action, or they would be attracted to this type of price action, looking to short the highs. It's about 5 points away from our next balance level. taking straight off to the moon today. Very interesting open. Wasn't even really much to speak on there. It's just everything. There's a whole lot of buying. Our loans are really feeling themselves this morning. Finally starting to get some pullback. Coming into volume support here at right in this range that we're trading in right now, the 498. Which to me, we saw a lot of transactions happen here at this level. It's just how, for me, that will be an aggressive area to be trying to step into a new position. And also our volume structure is pretty consistent with our power range levels. Got some buyers hanging around the zone that I just mentioned. The trader's trying to catch a second wave higher. Quick cover from shorts that were able to catch a good position. did give me an inside pair on the 1 minute, which would be a bullish signal. And we kind of do have the momentum to be aggressive like that, but you know, that's not within my plan. So if that happens, then you know, I'm perfectly fine with today being a no trade day. We'll get them tomorrow. But up here I do see this overall like sentiment and the norm. A lot of resistance up here, which we are starting to see some more selling come in. Mechanically right off our balance level at 506 3/4. So since we are trading so strongly in the all-time high area, the only thing we can really have other than the structure, the volume structure that was created within that run-up is math. So, you know, you're just using math up here to come up with levels of interest. So we're not chasing price and getting caught up in the very strategic marketing of, you know, our bigger hands. Interestingly though, price didn't move at all for ES. As I was saying that, I noticed that ES prices just been chopping around. A ton of selling for RTY. And the same thing with YM. So that is very, very interesting. So usually when we have these index, the indices, just, you know, kind of trading opposite of each other. Use whatever, you know, divergence, whatever kind of term you want to throw in there. Just keep it simple. They'll do that, and eventually they'll meet somewhere back in the middle before they all start trading with each other again. So we'll see where the middle is. That is it's got another bullish signal for an NQ. I personally still don't like this zone. It's just my personal opinion. Doesn't mean it can't keep going higher. There's another push. They try to keep us pushing into more all-time highs until we get follow through. Or, you know, we're just gonna hold the range. It's a pretty strong push. Still got some selling up here at our session high. Usually on days like this, I do, like, this is the days that I catch the least trades. It just, you know, it's the way that I prefer to trade. I was gonna say something else, but I lost the thought. I'll just leave it there. Looks like we want to create another. Our sellers want to take this back lower. Price is stalling at 506. Looks to be creating an appearance of a break higher. Creating the appearance of a break higher. Good thing for me that these days are sort of rare, so I don't have to sit on the sideline for, you know, too long. Should create some good opportunities in the afternoon session, depending on what your strategy looks like, of course, and the way that you like to trade. For me personally, from what I've seen historically, this sort of open does create some good opportunities later on throughout the day. Since I don't really have anything, let me go see what YM and RTY is up to. Looks like YM has found some support. Same thing with RTY. Slightly above PR -2 for YM. It's went all the way to PR -6 almost for RTY. NQ is teasing a breakout. All right, there's the break. Of course, our buyers are going to be looking to squeeze the shorts that jumped up there around 516. So if we push back in that zone, we do have 500 would be another, an area of interest for buyers again. Quick little retest on that breakout. Our buyers are still stepping in here. You can also see the volume structure at that breakout level. And if you look at the 1 minute, you can see what created it. We just continue to chop our way higher. They got nice participation from both sides. Our sellers are trying to keep this from going too high. And all this so far, and we got like 4 minutes, really like 3 minutes within this first 30-minute period. But this is on relatively low volume. So far, we've only traded 95,000 contracts. You see, our buyers are not aggressive because, are aggressive because there's not really, they don't have a lot of noise to fight through. It's one thing about low volume days is if you have enough strength to one side, it's not it's not that difficult to have push the trend in or push the price in one direction, as we're seeing this morning. You can either have that or it can be extremely choppy. But today we just got a lot of momentum, a lot of buyers excited for this price to keep going higher, counter to what the overall sentiment of, if you listen to different forms of media, there's a lot of bearish sentiment out there. People just think that people are waiting for the big correction or the big sell-off or the crash or whatever. They're not necessarily using those words, but you can tell the underlying. There are people that are using the words. This is not an absolute statement, but for the most part, they're not, without saying those words, they are. You can tell that a lot of people are expecting a crash or a big correction. If you hold a big enough hand, you can kind of use that information to your advantage, which could be possibly what we're seeing this morning. Everybody being so short biased, that gives you a lot of people to sell to. to sell your inventory to. So to kind of give like an example that we would be, that most people would be familiar with. To say we got a very popular product out there that a lot of people are looking to buy for whatever reason. If you hold a big inventory of it, you can get enough interest. If you can, do well enough on the marketing side, and with your marketing, you can use your inventory, or you can get a big payday off of your inventory. That didn't come out as clean as I thought it did, as I was thinking it, but I want to put that out, make some content off of that analogy. When I'm not trying to look at the charts and trade at the same time, even though I'm not even really looking for a trade right now, because it's just not, it's not trading the way that I would want to participate in it at this moment. But I am watching it just to get that screen time. So trying to watch the charts and think of a complex idea like that. That's why I have a thought and then it just escapes me because I'm trying to do too much multitasking. You see, we still got our sellers up in here trying to push this lower. But our buyers are still jumping in here. Retested that, kind of retested that breakout zone again. So we got plenty of inventory. Back in another little micro range. And I got apps that decides this is a good time to give me a message that I don't need. There's another break higher, taking advantage of all those shorts that just came in. Putting the squeeze on. So of course, in hindsight, this area that I mentioned earlier where we had the volume structure, that was the area for another push higher. And we put this into perspective. This range is still small relative to what we've been seeing lately. But I can definitely say I was not expecting this at all. Just looking at the energy of before the open, and kind of where we're trading. In terms of our major players, we're definitely one-sided this morning. The price is moving like this because we don't have as many shorts in. So as they buy in, they have to, we gotta look for price. We gotta look for prices higher to sell on the other side. smart money. They came in, they entered their positions here, and now they're selling this off as other traders are seeing this and oh, there's a lot of momentum in the Nasdaq today. Let me go ahead and you know, and start buying some and try to make some money off this momentum. And those that bought some more inventory down there, they're selling it off to them. But at the same time, you got shorts in here as well. There's a lot of different things going on at one time, but the overall sentiment is you got your smart money that are your bigger hands that built their inventory, or mostly before the open, and then got another little inventory collection range there, and we're just selling off that inventory at higher prices for a nice profit as newer traders jump in here, which is also causing us to keep pushing higher. Wasn't planning on trading this afternoon, but this might have to make an exception today, because this should create a nice range. It's either going to do one or two things. Like this, of course, this can't go on forever. Now we don't know when all this momentum or all this buying is going to come down and chill out. But the way that I see it, we're almost to the moon, what I call the moon. I put out a video later on that. Actually, that's in my course that I just created. That's coming soon. But what was I gonna say? Too many thoughts at one time. Oh yeah, so eventually it's gonna come down, but not. It's gonna. All this momentum is gonna take off, and more than likely I could see it finding a range and trading sideways. But it's still early, so we could have another. Actually, I can remove these orders. We could have some major sell-off or some retracement, since all of this happened so quickly, and we're still very early into our session. We haven't even completed the first hour of the New York Stock Exchange session yet, so I could definitely see it, hanging around in a range throughout the rest of the session. At some point, once this momentum slows down, or I could see it retracing all of this. Well, I wouldn't even be surprised if today ended up being a red day in terms of. I think that's the less likely way that this ends up or this plays out, but it's definitely possible. But more than likely, I do see some retracement, or just it's finding a range and hanging out in a range to end the session, which for me personally could create some really good opportunities in the afternoon. So at this point, I'm definitely in my no trade window time. I don't want to get in at a position up here. So I'll let the rest of the morning session play out and then come back in the afternoon and see what it looks like. See how it looks and decide if I want to participate in that or not. We are so far away from our mean. Put one more balance level in here just in case. I think we're starting to slow down now. Our buyers are starting to be done with what their agenda this morning. Let's see, Next balance level is 16 and a quarter. And a quarter. If I had a counter trend strategy, this would definitely be a area of interest for me. Keyword there being if. I'm personally not a fan of trading against the trend. Levels that I'm looking at is between the 515 and the 510 range. Oh, above that we also got 525 and also 500. Put this back in the sim mode so I don't, because I almost had a thought there to place an order. Forgot that I'm at the end of my trade window, so let me go ahead and get myself together, check myself, stick to the plan. But I did see sort of a very weak signal. Still got some buyers that are interested in buying at these prices. And very mechanically, may I add. Just looking at our volume profile. The fact that this is trading so mechanically does kind of give us a little bit of insight on the major player that we have in this market. What I call wholesale. Still got buyers that are that are buying at these levels. they have enough to keep pushing this price higher. As long as there's not that many sellers in the way, they could definitely push this price higher. If our shorts are smart, they're selling, and they're just taking quick positions. Which again would also, add to our insight of who's participating and moving this price this morning. Right back up the front run the highs. They're just running quick positions right now. We're either getting rid of remaining inventory or collecting more inventories. I don't see this as an inventory collection range, or yeah, but just call it a range. Waiting to see if the price can turn over here. Right now we're holding a range, creating somewhat of a 1 minute pennant pattern. They are painted the way that I'm seeing this picture being painted as a way to introduce some more shorts into this market, offload some supply. We'll be looking to see if price makes it back down there, what kind of response we get at 540 if it makes it back to that level. On the other side of that, of course, we're looking at 555 for a potential break higher, which would be insane. Just for clarity, I don't have a bias in either direction. do maintain the perspective that price can do anything. They could take price anywhere. Starting to see some momentum jump into ES, which makes me curious again about RTY and YM, which they're kind of just, RTY has found a range. YM is still chopping lower. Looks to be trying to find a range now. Let's see if we create a higher high in terms of our swings. And a higher low. So it did make an attempt to break above 555. So far, not seeing follow through. Oh, buyers jump right back in there, and we're trying to keep pushing this price higher. Which brings to mind one word, which is wow. Hitting our head against our balance level at 558.5. Well played by our buyers there. We did see some sellers try to jump in there and take price lower, but the buyers allowed it to dip back just enough to put their hand back in there and push us higher. So it was the one that I thought there was the less likely scenario, which that little area that we had right in there was more inventory collection, which is very interesting to say the least. So with all that being said, I'm going to continue watching, but from, just for entertainment value and to get some more screen time. But I'm go ahead and end today's session. Might come back and try to see what I can do, if I can do what we look like in the afternoon. And with all that being said, I appreciate everybody for coming through. Hope y'all are taking advantage of this, but sticking with your strategy, with your plan, and I will see y'all on Wednesday. Trade it easy.